There you
Now
go.
we're good. We are recording.
Good. We
Okay.
are recording.
We have to make sure we get all this good, juicy information. So, the Rose Gold series is a very special series to my heart because what I've noticed is that there has been a lot of pressure, additional pressure within the Black community when it comes to COVID-19 and this particular, the way it has rampaged and just torn apart the Black community. In addition to not only just, tearing apart the Black community, um, just in general, I have seen Black women continue to just hold the fort down when it comes to the community, when it comes to families, when it comes to just, keeping this world together. And this is not to say that our brothers are not doing anything. They are working on the front line just as we are. But I did want to particularly talk about specifically Black women and how they have been kind of on the front line and just kind of highlight the stories of women I know who are in the trenches. And one of those people is Miss TJ Akua Robinson, who is just doing multiple things and making these positive contributions during these particular crazy times. So one of the things I want to ask Miss Robinson is, what is self care for you? When you think of self care, what are some of the things that you are currently doing to balance yourself and uphold yourself in this particular pandemic?
So, one of the first things that actually comes to mind is sleep. Anyone who remotely knows anything about me knows that me and sleep are working on being best friends. Right now, we are acquaintances. And so, one of the things that is really important for me is to, in all that I do, which I'm sure we will talk about soon, is finding routines for me to be able to take care of myself. Self care, a lot of times we think about these like spa massages and just like the pampering of self, which is definitely needed. And I fully agree with all of it. But when I think about self care and that word, care, it's so loaded. And it comes with multiple things for me because sometimes self care is, all right, TJ, get up, you cannot sleep in bed all day today, even though you're finally tired because you do have this work to do. Oh, self care is also holding myself accountable. I have friends who will check me in a minute because they care. So, as much as care is, hey, are you sleeping? Hey, are you eating right? Care for me is like that all encompassing holistic level of care, right? So in terms of like mothering through COVID, right? Our mothers, they do more than hug us. They do more than and we want the hugs, we want all of the love, but there's an added element of that care which also is going deep within ourselves and working on ourselves to where we can be holistically and authentically well in every single aspect of our lives, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, that having that care. So that's what self-care is for me. I forgot the second part of your question.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that very comprehensive the comprehensive definition of self care. And you already kind of hit on the second part. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and repeat that, but I just want to ask you a few questions about some of the things that you said. One of the things that you talked about is the importance of sleep and making time to rest. As you know, at this particular time, the world is just in arms, right? There's so much things happening. And so I I also believe in the importance of sleeping, but I would like to know, how do you get yourself ready to sleep with all these external factors happening in the world, and how are you able to turn things off?
Right. And that is so important because one of the things that I've noticed is, you know, last year, right, March 2020, all of us, can't travel, no more conferences, all of these things. So what happened? All of a sudden you have all of these memes of now's the time to start your business. Now is the time for you to learn 50 million languages. Now is the time for you to just do any and everything, and you can just be extremely hyper productive. And I looked and I was like, no. And not no because I don't believe in productivity, but once again we see this trend of hyper productivity that is directly at odds with our culture. When we look at people of African descent, holistically and fully, rest has always been embedded in who we are and understanding that. And I had to kind of remind myself that because at one moment I was like, okay, let me just hurry up and finish my dissertation. And at the same time, I was like, I am tired. I'm tired. And this is coming from, for those who don't know, I used to be awake for 48 to 72 hours, and then I'd sleep for 3 hours, and then I'd get up and do it all over again. And I know you're looking at me a little bit crazy, but that is really what I used to do. And so this journey of healing, I really had to figure out a routine that would get me to calm my mind down so I could get some type of sleep. So I have a whole entire night routine, so my laptop closes at 9 no matter what, it's going away. My work phone is on silent and do not disturb at 9. And depending on the day, might be a day for my detox bath, might not. But there's a whole routine. It includes journaling, it includes praying, it includes watching a little bit of mindless TV. I do enjoy TV sometimes. And I'm not gonna now I love DMX and E40 and Too Short and Nate Dogg, all of them. I do. And all of my friends know that it doesn't take nothing but a minute for me to just snap on Pretty Ricky real quick. But at 9 o'clock p.m. I will. At 9 o'clock, that it has to go. At 9 o'clock, it's some soft drumming. It's 432 hertz of the healing music and calming to really get myself in, okay, it's time to go to sleep. I don't work in my bed anymore. I used to be notorious for having a laptop in my bed. That stays downstairs now. So my body knows that when we are in my room, it is a place of peace, it's a place of calm, and to go to sleep. And even if I don't fall asleep, I am at least resting.
Thank you so much. And I love the fact that you emphasize this idea of a routine, and even acknowledging how academia perpetuates these unrealistic ideas when it comes to rest, right? And productivity that is very entrenched in the Western culture. But just like you said, when we think about, the tradition of our African people, rest has always been embedded. And so going back to that particular source and knowing that we have to have that is very important. I want to come back to what you were saying when it comes to mothering. And you talked about, you said our mothers, they do so much more, you know? And I was thinking about, when I think about mothering, I think about nurturing of self and others. So can you speak a little bit more to that particular ideal of mothering yourself, and how your relationship with your mothers? And when I say mothers, we all have more. We have community women who are our mothers, we have biological mothers, we have mentors and things of that nature. And how has mothering, I guess, transpired in your own life?
Hmm. Well, first of all, I must acknowledge, my mother, Pastor Jack, as I lovingly call her. Anytime you see Pastor Jack, I'm probably referring to my mom. It took a lot of people a long time, like, oh wait, that's your mom. Like, yeah, Pastor Jack. That's what. Um, But I am so thankful for not only my mom, right? Not only Pastor Jack, but for all of my mothers who have shown me love and shown me love in so many ways to where I'm able to really unapologetically love myself. Um, yes, we when we think of moms and nurturing, the hugs, the warmth, the protectiveness, the being, and how important it is for us to do that for ourselves. And I know that as women, a lot of times we do mother others, and I'll speak on that in a moment. But I think that it is so important to really acknowledge that we must mother and love ourselves, that we must nurture ourselves in a way that is beneficial for us. And it's not a carbon copy. It's not a you remember when you used to roll and make cookies, and you could have all the shapes that you want to, but they're all exactly the same. That doesn't work for all of us for it to be a carbon copy like that, because we all need something. I go to the beach often, 3, 4, 5 times a week when I can, when it's not the middle of the semester, but I definitely go once or twice a week, because I need that. It's peaceful for me. But for some other people, it might be hiking. But for other people, it might be that they're journaling, or their place of calm is the bathtub. But whatever it is, that is where they go to restore themselves. Mothering is about restoring. Mothering is also about correcting. And so the community mothers who have, given me a light punch or hit me with their cane, to get me to snap back to who I am grateful for. And it comes out with the way I am with my friends and my students. My students call me Professor Auntie TJ, and sometimes they just leave the professor off, and they're like, Auntie TJ, we need to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, let's go. All of my students, well, when we were in the classroom, they always knew they could come to my office for a snack. But they also knew if they took that snack that they better be ready, because they were going to be red. But they also know that I will fiercely protect, not only my students but my friends and my loved ones. Like sometimes, like, we couldn't tell you the story because you were going to be mad. um, but they also know that it's no judgment. So as much as we are loving in a way of the hugs, but also loving in the way of correctiveness, they know that it comes with no judgment because we care so much about them. And our moms, when they were correcting us, however they needed to correct us, we knew it came from love, and they didn't want to see anything bad happen to us, and wanted us to be our full selves, in wellness and happiness. And that's what I think of. How am I going to treat myself so I can be my full self in wellness and happiness, and then let that light shine and permeate to others, so hopefully they are inspired to heal themselves and be their full selves.
That was so beautiful. I love this. How can I be my full self in wellness? That it just really hit me, because it's just a very beautiful way to look at it. One of the things you talked about was this ideal of mothering being a way of nurturing ourselves, restoring ourselves, and correcting ourselves. One of the things that I did want to quickly ask, I um, was this ideal of, this intergenerational dialogue when it comes to mothering. When I think of mothering, and I think of my mother, I think of my grandmother, and this particular ideal of, we don't care for ourselves, we just care for others. So how do you break that narrative and really try to say, like, okay, we have to change this particular narrative that this strong Black woman um, put herself aside as a sacrifice in order to, be there for the community without pouring love, peace, joy, and wellness in herself. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. How do you disrupt that particular narrative
I
with your
look
elders?
Right. um I look at our culture. um when you look at the Akan, the Dogon, the Shona, the Yoruba, the Zulu, right, all of our people, and I'm talking not only before imperialism and colonization and enslavement, but even beyond. When we look at our history, we see that we cared, and that it was communal to care for others. It was embedded in our culture, but we didn't care for others at the expense of ourselves. So Kwame Jechi has, in his book, has a chapter on the individual and the community. And the individual and the community stresses it's, um, that proverb, I can't see the forest because of the trees, right? Well, when we think about community, the individual makes up the community as much as the community makes up the individual. So if we are going to be there for the community, we must make sure that we are our highest individual self. And so sometimes that might be, talking to our elders, who are used to taking care of others. We sometimes we have to be like, okay, but I would like for you to be around here for a while longer. No, don't put yourself into an early grave when you don't have to, because you're not pouring into ourselves. Or sometimes it's as simple as letting them know, like, what? No, I'm okay. I really got it. No, I love my community mothers, who help me so much, and they are always there for me. And so sometimes I have to be like, hey, sit down. It's okay. Aren't you hurting a little bit? Sit down. I got it today. Thank you for always helping. And when it's looked at that and they realize that there's nothing expected of them in return, but we're just happy to see them take care of themselves, it comes across differently. And I'm thankful for those who mother me, even my friends who are like, TJ, didn't you just get done shopping for some elders? How about you sit down today? And how can we support you? And so it becomes a reclamation of ourselves. So we're breaking that mindset that we can't take care of ourselves first while we are still there for others. And we are also now teaching the younger ones as well, so that intergenerationally there is a level of self-care happening while we still care about our community. But we're not going to be around to see our community in the fullness of who we are if we don't take care of ourselves. And that I don't want. I want to see it. So I'm going to be here. So I'm going to take care of myself.
Thank you so much. I love the way you put those particular words, this idea of the individual and the community working together, and their emphasis of self-care, and how you need to do that, right? If you want to be a person to help the community. My next question is, you are a busy woman, Miss. You are a professor. You have a nonprofit, Natural We Community, and TJ Wellness Coaching. So I wanted to know, how, can you talk about those multiple things that you are doing simultaneously, and how you've been able to maneuver within this particular pandemic?
Um, the first word that comes to mind is time management. So Natural We Community is a nonprofit that whatever Black people need, we do. And right now, our main thing has been a food bank. But we also, before the pandemic, we were doing hair shows, which raised money for Black organizations and schools. We did wellness workshops, things like that. And then TJ's Wellness Coaching is, I'm a life and spiritual coach. It's my coaching business. And we have a Lafayette Ocean Retreats that launched last year in the middle of the pandemic. And we're getting ready for our next one in March. But um, one thing is, and then I'm a professor at multiple schools, right? And a PhD student. I was like, we get everything. And one thing is, I say time management, but I especially utilize backwards planning. So I look at the calendar and and it's a paper calendar. I know we have our phones, but studies show that when we write down, things that are important go into our brain and they're embedded in our long-term memory more than our short-term memory. So we're less likely to double book ourselves. So you have seen it, you've heard it and talked about it, you've written it, and now it's going in. And then I put it into my phone. But that backwards planning, for instance, if it's an event, okay, if we have to be out the building by 9 p.m., that means we need to be cleaning by 8 p.m. That means the event needs to be over by 7 p.m. so we can have an hour to take pictures and mingle and talk and network. Well, that means this needs to be done. Well, while this is happening, this needs to be done. And so it's a backwards planning all the way up to the beginning stages. I do the same thing with grading and giving my students assignments and things like that. And then I make things work for me. So with Natural we have a free Zoom tutoring session for students. And I do African storytelling and Swahili with Sister TJ. It used to be preschool hour, but I ended up having adults in Zoom listening to the stories and learning the songs and everything. So it's just African storytelling and Swahili with Sister TJ. So on one hand, it looks like that's just another thing on my schedule that I'm busy. But on the other hand, I'm actually working efficiently because I want to learn Swahili. And a lot of the stories I can use in my dissertation to talk about healing. So I'm actually doing three things within one. And it's a stress relief because I love my students, I love y'all. But the babies have my heart at the same time. I light up with kids. And so it's actually a break for me from the routine and things like that. So I'm working in that manner, and it's just been great. And I have a great team around me. Delegation is your friend. So naturally now has an assistant to help ease things. And my associate director and I, Tim Bryant, Tim, I love you. He's just great, and we are constant communication to make sure that we get things done while also giving each other breaks. So sometimes I like Tim, he's like, I got naturally, go to sleep. And other times he'll say, TJ, and I'm like, Tim, I got it, go to sleep. And that really helps.
Thank you so much. I love this idea of backwards planning, delegation, time management, and I can't wait to hear more about the ocean retreat. I do want to give people on the Zoom call opportunity to ask you some questions because this is only a 30-minute conversation. And so I just want to say, is there anybody on the call before I ask any more questions wanted to like say something, do a shout out, or have a question with our guest, Miss Akua TJ Robinson?
TJ, you're the best and we love you.
I love you. I love you.
You're
That is
killing
a
it.
girl.
And I'm taking notes and you're killing it.
Thank you. I love you. That is
I
my
love you too.
girl.
I was gonna say that, but
It's my other girl.
I'm just happy to be here and to hear you talk about all of the wonderful things that you're doing. I love you. I love it, and I don't really have any questions. I feel like you're covering everything really, really well.
Oh, thank you.
The backwards planning is definitely noted.
Okay, I'll be talking to you about it. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh Lord, just kidding.
So my next question is, and you kind of been hitting on it, and I do apologize if it sounds a bit repetitive, but I guess how have you been able to balance like I mean you talked about like time management and backwards planning and things of that nature, but I mean you have yourself as a whole being to take care of, and then you have multiple entities that you're taking care of. you know uh what is kind of like that moment of like, okay, I need to stop, or I can go on. What is your thought process through juggling? When is your self-care light bulb comes on, if that makes sense?
You know, um, I just saw your upgrade, by the way. So cool. We good. um, you know, I realized that I couldn't think about self-care as just a moment or a phase. Um, I had to realize that it's ingrained. It had to become ingrained in who I am and part of my lifestyle. And so when I'm praying, and because I cannot do all of this that I do without God's spirit and the ancestors. I can't. Um, it they have purposed it in me, and at the end of the day I want to do them proud, and so when I pray, God spirit ancestors, please reveal what I need to work on. God spirit ancestors, please send me the help that need to make all of this happen. And there are moments when I am down, and I deal with PTSD and anxiety, and there are moments where it flares, and in those moments you pray even harder. You never stop praying, right? But pray even harder. And that might be a week where, although I always have my essential oils going, it might need to go more. That might be a moment where I'm at the beach more. That might be a moment where I am messaging my friends like, hey, I'm struggling this week, I need y'all to pray. And I love it because sometimes they automatically know. I don't even have to say anything, and I'll get a text message, are you good? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. Like, is that your real answer? And I'm like, never mind. Let me just let y'all know what's going on. And they're able to help. But I think when you find something or it reveals itself to you, and you know that you're walking in your purpose and your divine assignment, there is a level of peace that comes with it. So although the work can be challenging and a lot, you're able to kind of I am able to remind myself I am more than well. God has purposed everything in me. All of the resources going to come to me, and speak life over myself. And I had to learn to speak life over myself, not just in my thoughts, but out loud. And so I had to, I in the classroom, my students will tell you that I am animated. Even sitting down on Zoom, I got to move some type of way. When we were in the classroom, they never knew if I was going to walk from the back to the front, where I was going to be, anything like that. And so I can speak, right? But in my prayer time, I was quiet, and it was like barely a whisper. And one day my godfather was like, would you use your voice? I was like, oh, okay, sure. And it took some practice, but I did. And I am grateful for that encouragement from my godfather, because I have seen the progress, I've seen the gifts and the blessings, and that is what enables me and reminds me that this work is worth it. And I see it especially when I take care of myself, when I'm not running down, but when we're keeping our heart clean and understanding that you work and flow within the spirit while you're doing this in the physical and mundane earth, and it is interconnected and comes together. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment.
Thank you so much. I really like that piece. When you said, you asked, you use your prayer time to guide you and to reveal, like, hey, God, what am I supposed to do? Ancestors, what am I supposed to do? And you are open to hear and to be directed. I did have just two more questions, if that's okay.
I'm gonna
I
let
just,
you know. I blocked off an hour and a half for you. So I don't, you're good. You're fine. Do
go
you?
to California and kidnap TJ for a moment. Um, I wanted to ask you if you can just talk a little bit more about TJ Wellness Coaching and some of the things that you offer. I'm sure, people are going to want to know, how can they reach you, and, what type of things they can expect from a session with you.
So TJ's Wellness Coaching um is budding. We are in like the infancy stage. I actually started TJ's Wellness Coaching about 2 or 3 years ago, but I took a break. I needed to make sure that it was what I wanted to do, right? But basically, I offer coaching packages. I do have a discounted student version, and I'll make sure that you get all of the information, Dr. Caesar. But I coach, through and able to help with those who struggle with PTSD and anxiety. So I am not a therapist. I'm not going to go, I don't go through a whole entire treatment plan, but I sit down in the consultation and ask, okay, what's going on? What are your goals? What do you need help with? So helping with manage PTSD and anxiety with different strategies, with working through things and having trial and error and things like that. And then I also help with those who need help with time management. And so I am like that accountability coach where you can work some things out. We can try, okay, backward planning doesn't work for you. Okay, well, let's work at your to-do list. And how does that help? And how can we prioritize and learn and incorporate the rest in there while also talking to the person on a holistic level? Let's unpack some of these emotions. How can we go through our week dealing with these emotions and helping that out? So that's one aspect of TJ's wellness coaching. The other aspect, which I hinted at earlier, is Alafia Ocean Retreat. Alafia is a Yoruba word for peace. So when someone is greeting you and is saying Alafia, and they're asking, how are you? They're asking about your whole self. How are you doing? How is Tiara doing? How is TJ doing? Tiara is my name as well. Um, and so at Alafia Ocean Retreat, we have it at an ocean front. Water is very important to what I do in that connection and Yemaya, all of that. So there is I create an individualized package based off of your birthday, your favorite colors, favorite numbers, some other things. And I create a wellness package for you with my team. My team is awesome. And so you come Thursday, get settled. Friday starts the retreat. We have healthy meals by Chef Cheryl Tate, who is just phenomenal. And we go through this journey. So I am a Reiki practitioner as well. So Reiki is offered. We have a massage therapist come in, and the retreat is really a time for you to come and really reconnect with yourself, with your spirit, with who you are, and able to now go back into the world after the retreat is over and really claim who you are and take some of those lessons and things that come out of the retreat with you. We have a fitness instructor who will come and go through stretching, but while you're stretching, you're getting a meditation and an affirmation. And there's live music to kind of just ease. So at one point, sometimes there's like these intense moments, right? You're unpacking emotions and everything, but then the next minute we might be laughing and talking about something, but really allowing spirit to flow. And then on the last day, we have a ocean bath ancestor gathering where we kind of finalize the retreat, and we really go forward and really sow into what we want coming out of it. And one of the things I love about the retreat is that not only do our participants get something out of it each time, but my team does. And my team is awesome. Des, Cleo, Marcus, who really help get these retreats together. And so it's so funny that you're asking right now, because we're actually getting ready to launch all of the advertising for the next retreat, which is in March. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful time, and we love it. And yeah, so it's like from Thursday night to Monday morning, and just a time of reconnecting with yourself, spirit, ancestors, relaxation, but also making plans moving forward to going back into the real world, right?
It sounds so beautiful. I cannot wait to get more information, to share, to come and
Yes.
get that, that natural, like just, I look at it as like a total body, inner and outer experience of, refreshing yourself. My next question is concerning healing practices during the coronavirus. As you know, the Black community has been hit really hard, and a lot of people have died. Part of it is lack of access, right, to good health care, food,
Right.
doctors. And what are some of the things that you can share with people on things that they can do at home to protect themselves when we're talking about like natural healing remedies and things of that such. I just kind of think about, you know, the fact that everybody do not have access to, you know, insurance, right? Everyone don't have access to doctors or even particularly the vaccine. However, I do believe there are things that you can do, you know, at home to protect yourself. And I just wanted to know if you had any remedies or things of that such that you could share with people.
So one thing that I do is I follow on Facebook and Instagram. The name is Moya Body Care, Moya Body Care, and she has a Mo is just wonderful. She has a detox bath that I have incorporated into my routine. It includes baking soda, peroxide, something else. The full breakdown escapes me, but I'll be sure to send you the flyer that she had that talked about her detox bath. I make sure I get plenty of water. Um, Water is very important to flush yourself out. And then I'm not 100% plant-based because I really love seafood. But I am about I am about 60-70% plant-based, and I can feel in my body how much better I move and feel in tune in my body. Herbs. So ginger, garlic, onion, lavender. I make a tea with those. I also have a full immunity boost drink that I make that's different from what I just shared. That also includes cayenne pepper. But really getting those vegetables and the water. And then I say it again, sleep. So there are 3 or 4 different studies that show how sleep is important to keeping not just keeping COVID away, but anything. But there has been a correlation to those who don't sleep well getting hit by COVID even more. And that really hit home for me in terms of especially making sure that I rest. But when we think about it, our body needs to be able to relax and restart and reboot. If we restart our phones to make sure that they're in tip-top shape, we should do that for ourselves. And as much as we are staying home, I do make sure to get some vitamin D. So I will go out to the beach. Now, granted, I'm not there in the middle of the day when everybody else is there, but at some point I am there in the open air, in the vitamin D, things of that nature. And then eucalyptus, I'll do a eucalyptus steam. So put some fresh eucalyptus in some water, let it boil, and then, as our big mamas and them used to do, just hold it over your pot and let it all come out. I do that. So those are some of the things that I do and suggest that have been especially helpful. I see your question about, I think you said, what's my favorite way to use lavender? My favorite way to use lavender is actually the essential oil. So I put the pure grade lavender in an essential oil diffuser and let it hit the room, hit everything. That's one of my favorite ways, and going from there.
Thank you so much. I really love that emphasis on, like, sleep, immunity, this idea of making sure you eat right, tea, right, plant-based diet, just being mindful what you eat. Different type of teas that you can use, right, to boost your immune system. Because one of the things that we do know when it comes to this particular pandemic, it attacks your immune system. And so what are the ways, right? We have to constantly think of what are the ways that we can constantly keep our immune system up. And these are remedies that we get from our mothers, right? And our grandmothers, and our ancestors, on how we've been doing these things for centuries, right? For as long as I know, we know somebody who's been doing something to help them boost their immunity system. So I just felt like it was really important that you were able to share that, so that people can understand. Yes, you might not have access to certain things, but there are still things that you can do in the comfort of your home, that can help you, during this particular time, to boost your immunity system. My last question is concerning other women who would love to be in your particular position, building, right? But not just building, but also taking care of themselves. So, how? What advice would you give to other Black women who are looking to create organizations that are positively contributing to their community, but um, also having them look at themselves realistically and take care of themselves in order to do the work in a healthy manner? What advice would you tell them?
One thing that I would say, in spite of the fear, do it anyway, right? Fear doesn't necessarily go away overnight. And sometimes new challenges present or reveal a new fear, right? But do it anyway. And when you do it, yes, we need money. Yes, we need to pay our rent, right? Um, but that should not be our number one reason why. When we do things that are in for organizations, then I'm sorry, my dog is handing me a tennis ball. When we do things for the community, the number one reason we do it should not be to make money. But we do it because there is a level of love and care and want to be a blessing to others. Now, that doesn't mean to not get it, right? There is reciprocity in our culture and everything. And so, we go to school, or we do the learning, we do the training, we get the certificates, all of those things. We should be compensated, but that should not be the number one reason why we do it. And then from there, you are going to learn as you go. Now, there is research that you can do on the front end. No, I have 2 masters, and I'm working on the PhD, and I'm a teacher. Like, there has been a level of training that I've done on the front end, but some things I had no idea what to do, like algorithms and social media. No, not TJ. And so started learning it, but also prayed, like, God, please send somebody who can do this, because TJ cannot. And thankfully, we have someone who is amazing, and she's awesome, and I love her for it, right? Who's been able to take that over. And so you bring the people along who understand your vision and who support your vision and will do it. And sometimes you might have that conversation with, look, these first 2 years, I'm gonna need you to do it because you love me, but I promise as soon as we get the grants and get it going, you'll be compensated. And that's what we did with Natural We. That's what I have been doing with TJ's Wellness Coaching. It's okay to not know. We have this thing in our mind where if we don't know every single thing, then, oh, that means we're not worthy enough to do it. No, you are worthy enough to do it, and you can do it. The resources are going to come when you keep a pure heart, when you do what you are supposed to do, and you realize the why, and you go after it unapologetically, and you let it be with your light. Don't let your ego and your pride get in the way, because not knowing should not be that means your pride is hurt. No, that means you find who has the answer for you and who can teach you and who can help you, and you go from there. Your ego and pride get in the way when you won't ask why or for help. And when you decide that you are the only person on the earth who can do everything, when that's not how we were built. Jesus is great and wonderful and awesome, but when we read that Bible, he had John the Baptist to also help pave the way. God uses and breathes and inspires people. The Holy Spirit is here to help, and our spirit is in each and every single one of us, because we all have gifts that are needed to make this world go. I'm gonna stop right there.
Thank you so much. I mean, that spirit was just so overwhelming, it felt good. Thank you. Thank you.
Nope.
Um, where can people reach you? Now, I'm gonna post this on my social media, and I'm going to put your contact,
That's fine.
where are you on the social media world? How can people get in contact with you?
So on Instagram, I am TJ's Wellness Coaching. That's one of them. And then the other one is at Natural We Community, and I'll put it in the chat box in a minute. On Facebook, I am Akua, TJ Robinson, and then we also have the TJ's Wellness Coaching page and the Natural Week Community page, which I'll also put in the chat. And then email can reach me at tjrobinson22@gmail.com. So tjrobinson22@gmail.com. And then you can text at 424, what's the number? 653-0893. Can text or call, leave a message. If I normally don't answer phone calls that I don't recognize the number completely, I've gotten better at it, but you know, God all know we're getting a lot of scam calls. So if you just text me your name or something at first, then I'll probably then I will be more inclined to answer as soon as I can. Now keep in mind, I'm busy, y'all, but I always return calls and texts within a 24 to 48-hour period if it's not on the same day. But I look forward to connecting with any and everyone. Like this is, we need this, and we need each other.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you sharing your information. I'm also going to post it and share it so people can get in contact with you, a phenomenal woman who's doing beautiful things within the community and within the world. Again, thank you to all the guests who have participated in the first episode of Mother and Self, the Rose Gold series, where we highlight the excellence and greatness of beautiful people who are doing beautiful things in the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will look forward to seeing everybody again next week when we have our next guest. I hope everybody is feeling well, sending love, peace, happiness, and light your way. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone.